Devin Clark indeed. Light heavyweight who is opening the card here on Saturday night, first fight of the night.
Opponent's next.
Interesting tattoo there on the chest.
That is impressive.
205.
205 for Devin Clark. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's a little dog in the center of that tattoo.
Is that what you would call that? It's like something elkish. Elkin. That's a word.
You can make it a word. I'll allow it.
Alexander Rakish.
Alexander Rakish,
Devin
the
Clark's
opponent of
yeah.
Devin Clark, up next. And there is already a healthy crowd developing behind us here in Toronto, including Justin Gaethje, noted UFC lightweight contender, the most exciting man in mixed martial arts.
Ooh. Comment section, go ahead.
I would love someone to argue against that.
Give us your suggestions. I mostly agree. I'm just off the top of my head, sure. One of the names did definitely come up.
All right, Alexander Rakish up now, light heavyweight. .206 for Alexander Rakish.
Looking very comfortable. I believe, as of this morning, the biggest favorite on the card.
Is that right?
I think so. He's won his last 10. He hasn't lost since October 15th, 2011, so all the man does is kind of flying under the radar, but he's 2-0 in the UFC so far, so maybe the hype is legit. But, I mean, Devin Clark's a pretty good fighter, so, I don't encourage gambling, but I'm just saying if you guys want to check that line out, so you got a good feeling about Devin Clark, maybe splash some cash on that. But, yeah, Rakish definitely looking to build something here.
Next up, Kyle Nelson, lightweight fighter.
Very short notice.
Yes, he is coming in very short notice. He's taking on Diego Ferreira. This is also on the UFC Fight Pass prelims. It seems as though we're going in order so far. The first fight was the first fight.
It's almost ceremonial.
The first two fighters were from the first fight, and now this is the second fight. $155.5 for Kyle Nelson.
Very good. Huntsville, Ontario zone. Huntsville's about 2.5, 3 hour drive out from here.
So the short notice fighter, he really got this assignment on a few days' notice. He comes in and he makes weight.
He's competed at both featherweight and lightweight, so not too difficult for him to make lightweight on short notice.
Next up, Claudia Gadelha, who's fighting Nina Ansaroff on the FS1 prelims, and there is a little rousing applause for Claudia Gadelha. First one of the day. $115.5 for Claudia Gadelha.
Gadelha on point. We spoke to her yesterday, and she's actually spent time in Canada before, but I think only in the summer. I think it's her first time experiencing anything close to the winter. She was not happy. She did not look happy.
She did not seem to enjoy the cold, and that's putting it mildly.
She had a very nice fur on, which I think was definitely more for life, like for living, quality of living than style. It looked nice, but I think she just needed it.
Also in her women's strawweight division, Nina Ansaroff.
And so next up, Nina Ansaroff, who is actually fighting Claudia Gadelha in that strawweight fight. She is accompanied by the UFC Women's Bantamweight champion, Amanda Nunez, who in just 2 weeks is fighting Chris Cyborg. $115.25 for Nina Ansaroff. So that strawweight fight is official.
Ansarov looking for her 4th straight strawweight win. That'll tie her with Tatiana Suarez for the current longest active strawweight streak.
Really coming out of nowhere, too.
She turned things around.
Chad Lepre up next. Canada's own.
That's right.
He is taking on Diego Lima on the undercard in a welterweight bout. And I do see Brian Ortega in the back there as well, so one half of our main event.
$171.
171 for Chad Lepre.
Chad Lepre, he's been looking good at welterweight. That's the weight he won the Ultimate Fighter Nations season, which I'm sure we all watched. I would say the 12th best.
In the women's flyweight division, Caitlin Chukagian.
All right, next up, Caitlin Chukagian, who yesterday told us that she was the official backup fighter that the UFC asked to make weight. And she's obviously fighting Jessica Eye, but she is also making weight in case anything goes awry with that co-main event between Valentina Shevchenko and Yana Jędrzejczyk. So I would expect this to be championship weight, Alex.
Yep, she has to be on it. I mean, for it to be eligible, yep, she has to be on. So she looks prepared. She looks like she's in great shape. I am expecting 125. I think it's going to be out right in the dark.
$125 3/4.
125 and 3/4 for Caitlin Chukagian.
That's interesting.
That is not championship weight, so it will be.
I guess so. Our man Casey suggesting we could, with a few adjustments, she could make it.
But that's not how that works. So if it comes to it, I don't know that she will be able to take that fight. Now Brian Ortega up next, one half of our main event.
Another big ovation.
And the crowd continues to grow here behind us here at the UFC 31 morning weigh-in stream. Brian Ortega challenging for the featherweight title here on Saturday.
$144 3/4.
144 and 3/4 for Brian Ortega. That half of our main event is official.
A lot of people picking Ortega to unseat Holloway, another guy in a crazy streak, 12 straight, and I don't blame him. We'll give our picks later, but I will say I understand why there's so much confidence behind Ortega. He's just been unbelievable in the UFC, not just unbeaten, finishing people left and right, finishing late, early.
In the men's featherweight division,
Yes, we'll talk more about that main event because it is absolutely sensational.
Now, Kyle Bochniak, featherweight.
Kyle Bochniak up now, featherweight, who's taking on Hakeem Dawodu with a big opportunity here on this main card.
$145.
145 for Kyle Bochniak, who's looking to rebound after a very tough but exciting fight against the beat Magomed Sharipov.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. He's looking to rebound, but also kind of build on it because it was a really exciting fight. It kind of put his name on the map, but he's been off for so long now. I think people maybe only remember the results. So, yeah, it's going to be it's a really important fight for him.
I do think he surprised a lot of people in that fight.
Definitely.
Valentina Shevchenko.
Next up, Valentina Shevchenko, who this must feel like Groundhog's Day for her. She has weighed in for a championship fight multiple times in her career, and several of those fights have fallen through. Hopefully this will not be one of them. It seems as though this is a different vibe this week.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like there's been a lot of concerns. She's sounded very confident that it's been asked, are you happy to have someone that you know has made weight every time, professional, a champion like Joanna, and she's been very positive about it. So,
Valentina Shevchenko in tremendous shape this week.
123.5.
123.5 for Valentina Shevchenko. She comes in screw championship weight. She is 1.5 under.
Maybe she's going for that strawweight title next. Maybe she must be the first woman to compete for 3 UFC titles. That's well under.
123.5 for a woman who challenged for the bantamweight title.
That's right.
I love it.
Oh, she is prepared.
I cannot wait for that fight.
I think we have Diego Ferreira coming up next. Don't quote me on that. I just see him.
Okay, thank you.
No spoilers?
Next up in
I'm spoiling the
bantamweight
draft.
division, Matthew Lopez.
Oh, I lied.
Matthew Lopez up next.
I missed him.
And that's why you don't guess ahead of time, Alex. Rookie mistake.
$135.5.
135.5 for Matthew Lopez, who is taking on Brad Katona here on the UFC Fight Pass prelims.
Matthew Lopez, super talented guy. His run of the UFC has been a little uneven. He's lost his last couple. He's 2-3 overall. So, but I think he's always putting on good fights. So I know he has a budding fan base, and I hope people keep an eye on him. Don't sleep on that fight with him and Brad Katona.
And Justin Gaethje here behind us, celebrating for his teammate making weight.
Our next fighter to the scale in the lightweight division, Diego Ferreira.
Diego Ferreira up next. You were just one early, Alex.
I was one early, so he is matched up with this is. Well, I'll mention after that he's fighting his third scheduled opponent. I want to say. Let me pinpoint that after he weighs in.
$155.75.
155.75 for Diego Ferreira, who's taking on Gunnar Nelson here on the UFC Fight Pass prelims. And Diego Ferreira on a sneaky nice streak. I mean, Jared Gordon and Olivier Oban Mercier, 2 wins back to back. Those are not easy names to defeat. So a sneaky fight here on the undercard.
Yeah, and there's really nothing easy about his preparation this week. Again, so he was originally scheduled to fight John McDessie. That fell through. Jesse Ronson, that fell through. And now Kyle Nelson. So hopefully he's kind of just going in no game plan.
Yeah, he has gone through the ringer here on Fight Week. Next up, Thiago Santos, who started at welterweight, moved up to middleweight, and now is fighting at light heavyweight. And he could make some noise here in this division. He is taking on Jimmy Manoa.
How did he ever make welterweight? How did this?
He's a big man.
He's an impressive fellow.
$205.75.
205.75 for Thiago Santos.
Yeah, no problem making light heavyweight for him. Like a lot of fighters who've been asked to move up, he does not committing to staying at 205. It sounds like he still wants to give 185 a chance. If he feels like he can make it, that's great. But 205, he looks fantastic. He looked very good in his first fight against Eric Anders. Manoa, huge test, top 10 guy. See how that goes.
He's certainly getting a big opportunity here. Next up is Brad Katona, who's taking on Matthew Lopez in a bantamweight bout on the UFC Fight Pass prelims. Canada's own Brad Katona.
Representing Winnipeg, Manitoba. It's kind of Manitoba. Or maybe I'm doing a Minnesota accent and mixing them together. They're kind of similar.
It sounds right to me.
People from
So
Winnipeg
I'll
are
allow
gonna
it.
kill me right now. I love Winnipeg, bro.
$135.5.
135.5 for Brad Katona.
Another Ultimate Fighter winner, Ultimate Fighter 27, which I would rank as maybe like the 16th. You know, someday I'll do my Ultimate Fighter rankings of every season that I've watched, because I'm probably the only one who's done that.
You do love the Ultimate Fighter in a way that few people do at this point. And a big old smile on Brad Katana's face as he makes weight.
He's a super chipper guy, though. He's a super chipper guy.
Chipper is a good word.
Yeah, oh,
People
that's
don't
the way
say
to
chipper
describe him.
enough.
Well, to describe him specifically.
Diego Lima up next, welterweight fighter who's taking on Chad Lepre here on this UFC Fight Pass prelims. And he is the last UFC Fight Pass prelims we have, or fighter, I should say, that we have to weigh in. This is going fast and furious here.
Mm-hmm. And now you've jinxed it, and now we'll slow down for the next 45 minutes.
That's the way it goes.
Not that I believe in jinxes.
170 and a quarter.
170 and a quarter for Diego Lima.
Lima, the brother of Douglas Lima, of course, Bellator welterweight standout, and he owns the dubious distinction of being the only two-time Ultimate Fighter finalist, two-time finalist, most recently in the Redemption series. So, a talented guy, but definitely has not been getting the results he's wanted since coming up to the UFC level.
Our next fighter to the scale in the light heavyweight division, Jimmy Manoa.
Next up on the scale, Jimmy Manoa, UFC light heavyweight contender who's taking on Thiago Santos on this pay-per-view card.
$204 and 3/4.
204 and 3/4 for Jimmy Manoa, who's really coming into here in a very important fight, I would say, for his career. He's 38 years old on a 2-fight losing streak. He's taking on unranked Thiago Santos. Obviously, Thiago Santos is not a normal unranked fighter, but it's a very important fight for him if he still wants to remain in title contention here in this division.
Sean was really grilling Jimmy the other day. I kind of asked him if he's, I don't know what you're wording with, over the hill or something to that effect.
That absolutely didn't happen.
Hopefully he
on the
proves
scale.
Sean wrong on Saturday.
Next up on the scale is Elias Theodoro, who's taking on Eric Anders in a middleweight fight to open up the FS1 prelims. $184.5 for Elias Theodoro. He makes it. And this could be the fight to really catapult him into the actual discussion here at middleweight. He's on a nice streak himself. And next up on the scale, the UFC featherweight champion, Max Holloway. I feel like this is the moment of truth for a lot of people.
I'm holding my breath. If I'm not talking, it's because I'm holding my breath.
Max looks ready to go.
Yeah, it doesn't look too concerned.
Next up to the scale in the featherweight division, the champ, Max Holloway.
Ooh, he gets a rousing introduction. He is already shirtless. He is ready to do this.
$144.5.
144.5
No
for
problem.
Max Holloway. The UFC featherweight champion makes it with half a pound to go, and he shushes the critics. He's got this under control. We have a main event, Alex.
Man, that was a fiery step to the scale. If you can, I don't know if you can have a fiery step to the scale, but that was one if I've seen one.
Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
She, the longtime strawweight queen, making her move up here to flyweight. And I think there's a chance she might weigh more than Valentina Shevchenko.
Oh yeah, considering how Valentina came in.
Joanna Jędrzejczyk telling the official that she's on weight. He doesn't need to worry. Making her empty her pockets.
I don't think he likes being told.
She must take the sweats off.
123 and 3/4.
123 and 3/4 for
Easy,
Joanna
man.
Jędrzejczyk.
Easy, man. She even did the announcement pose, which they always tell you not to do, but that's how confident she was. Like, it didn't matter.
So she is a quarter of a pound heavier than Valentina Shevchenko, and both of our title fights here are official very quickly here early on the UFC morning weigh-ins. That was an interesting one. Joanna Jędrzejczyk wanted to weigh in with sweats, maybe add a half a pound to her weight there. Commission official making her check her pocket, see if there's extra weights inside there, Dan Henderson style.
She did a lot of stuff. There was supposed to be a break. She came in and said, no. There's no break. I'm weighing in now. I decide when there's a break.
Alex
She came
Cowboy Oliveira.
Indeed, Alex Cowboy Oliveira coming out, and we will see the towel here, it looks so. Cowboy is in a big one. He is taking on Gunnar Nelson. And Cowboy Oliveira, really one of the sneaky good contenders here in this welterweight division. He's doing this without the towel first.
171.
171, we will not need a towel. He is thrilled about it.
Yeah, he went from looking a little serious and then back to regular Cowboy Oliveira mode, smiling and just looking loose. He did look a little worried, and I think he wanted to use the towel at first, and they just said, no, let's try it without it, and it worked out.
She is taking on
Flyweight division,
Caitlin Chukagian.
Yeah, she is
In a
jacked
flyweight
up.
fight that could be a #1 contender fight, and she is excited, waving to the crowd.
Will she make championship weight if she becomes the replacement? Let's see.
$126.
126 for Jessica I. So that fight is official. And as we were just saying, she does not make championship weight. She didn't need to. But now neither her nor Caitlin Chukagian made championship weight. So if one of their numbers is called, they would not be fighting for the title. It would be a non-title fight on their end. Hopefully we will not need that though.
We should mention, at no point did we hear an official word from the UFC that the Chukagian deal was.
Next up to the scale in the lightweight division, Gilbert Burns.
We'll
Next
mention
on
it
the
again.
scale is Gilbert Burns, who's taking on Olivier Oban Mercier in a lightweight bout on the FS1 prelims. And there's a little bit of history between these two men. They were supposed to fight earlier in this year, and that fight was taken off because Gilbert Burns was overweight in the middle of the week. It was actually early in the week. And there's a little bit of heat between them because of that.
155 and 3/4.
155 and 3/4 for Gilbert Burns. And that fight should be a good one.
He's happy, and you know Olivier Oban Mercier is happy. So, oh, he's got a good mean
He
mug
has a
going.
good mean mug going. He is intense. He is ready to do this.
He is known as Mean Hakeem Dawodu, so staying on brand.
$145 and 3/4.
145 and 3/4 for Hakeem Dawodu, who keeps the mean mug on, man. He flexes to the scale next.
Next up in the welterweight division, Gunnar Nelson.
Gunnar. Gunnar Nelson in tremendous shape.
$170 and 1/4.
170 and 1/4 for Gunnar Nelson. He makes weight for his fight against Alex Cowboy Oliveira here on this pay-per-view card. And again, as we said, a very big fight for him. He is coming off of a very long layoff, an injury layoff as well. He is still, nonetheless, the number 14 ranked fighter in that very deep 170-pound class. Fighters left away, and not including Renato Moicano, the backup fighter.
Olivier, Oban, Mercier.
And Olivier, Oban, Mercier up now. Lightweight fighter taking on Gilbert Burns on the FS1 prelims.
$155 3/4.
155 3/4 for OAM. The Canadian gangster. Look at that mustache. That is a mustache, Alex.
That weighs at least half a pound.
And here we go.
Eric Anders.
Here we go, Eric Anders up next. And it appears as though the towel will be necessary. Eric Anders taking on Elias Theodoro in a middleweight contest. He's going to try it without the towel once.
186.
186 for Eric Anders. No towel needed. He does not look the best.
I was gonna say, he looks like, I want to get out of here.
And here we go, last fighter of the day. This is Renato Moicano.
Featherweight division. Renato Moicano.
And it appears as though he may need the towel as well. We shall see though. Beam scale.
Beam scale hashtag.
Renato Moicano, the backup fighter for UFC 231's main event. And it appears the towel will be needed.
Oh, they're not even going to announce it.
Oh.
$146.
146 for Renato Moicano, the backup fighter.
I don't know.
For UFC 231's main event. He needed to make championship weight to be the official backup fighter, so I'm currently unsure, I guess, about the status of this. We will clarify that for you guys, and we will tweet that out. 1 second, there is some deliberation going on. So it appears as though Renato Moicano will be given an hour, if he wants it, to cut that extra pound and make championship weight.